am so excited you're all here with me tonight. Of course, my name is Rachel Van Tyle, as you can see. I'm the Director of Immigrant Services at the Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic. Can I get a wave if everybody can hear me okay? All okay? Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Guys, I'm so excited to be here. This is the first opportunity I've had to kind of do one of these talks. I said a TED Talk style is a little intimidating, so we're just going to go with like a Rachel Talk style. But let me tell you a little bit about my team, and then we're going to get into why we do the work and what we do. So immigration has long been very important to the clinic. We currently have a staff of 4 attorneys and 4 support staff members, and with the great staff that we have, we're able to really do a lot of work, and we're thankful for their support. Before I get too much further, let me thank tonight's breakout room sponsors, Bakery Drinker, Biddle and Wreath, and Ice Miller. Without their support from organizations like this, there's no way we'd be able to host this event, and so we're really thankful for their partnership. So I'm going to start, as I am seeing some familiar faces out there, as I often get on my soapbox when I first start this, and I want to talk about the word illegal, the term illegal. We do not call people illegal. So if you leave this talk with nothing else today, stop calling people illegal. Why? People who are created in the image of God, as Christians, people who are created for God's purpose are not illegal. You can do an illegal action. I sped onto the way to this lovely studio at Wagner Reese, and I'm fairly certain I'm not an illegal person because I sped and committed an illegal act. So as a reminder today, fundamentally, I believe that we can change the way we talk about fellow human beings. We can change the way we treat fellow human beings. And that's what we need to recognize, that even our low income and impoverished neighbors are human beings, are created in the image of Christ, and do serve a purpose here on this earth. I once had an intern who, this was a few years ago, I ran into several years later and met her husband, and he said, "Oh, you're the person that said we shouldn't say illegal. So don't think if you start correcting people that it won't go farther." So if we can be kind to one another, I think that that's going to be just a really good step. But let's talk about why we do what we do, why I do what I do. I have always felt a strong passion for social justice work. I went to Rebuff Jesuit High School. I was really brought up in the Jesuit tradition, which is service is a big part of that. And I've always felt that call. But more importantly, as I've grown in my Christian faith through mentorship from people like Josh Abel and Chris Purnell, I've really felt the call as a Christian. The Bible tells us in Leviticus 19:34 that the alien who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the foreigner as yourself, for you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. We know that the Bible calls us to love all, and I feel that call every day. I also just kind of want to tell you a little about who we serve. So when I first started the clinic in 2012, my population of clients were largely Burmese refugees. Interesting factoid, Indiana has the largest population of Burmese refugees in the world outside of Southeast Asia. So started working with Burmese people. I did not speak Burmese. I really wish I did, because I think it would make my life a lot easier. But started working with Burmese families, helping them do green cards, helping them reunite with their families, helping them do their citizenship. But recently our populations have changed, and I now primarily work with Spanish speakers and people seeking asylum from Venezuela, from El Salvador, from Honduras, from Nicaragua, and a lot of Africans as well. So our immigrants are those people who, mostly we work with refugees, or people who are considered refugees, who are people who flee their country out of fear or necessity. But we also serve a variety of immigrants who are people who move for economic or family reasons, like the Somalian family I helped reunite after war and disease and distance tore them apart for 10 years. They hadn't seen, the husband and wife had not seen each other in 10 years, and just last year we were able to finally reunite that family. But back to refugees. So refugees move out of fear or necessity, and refugees and people who receive asylum meet the same definition in the United States. And that definition is a person who has a well-founded fear of returning to their country because of their race, their religion, their political opinion, or their national origin. Now, like I said, I have a lot of different asylees, people seeking asylum. Largely it's been Venezuelans. Midway in my career, it was a lot of people from Africa, Congolese people. But know that while there are nearly 80 million refugees in the world, less than 1% of those people are referred to resettlement anywhere in the world. And the US presidential administration has the delegated authority to set the number of refugees permitted to enter each year. But that does not cap the number of people who can receive asylum or who can apply for asylum. So that number actually only relates to people entering the United States as a refugee. And this year, that number is 15,000. So we know we're not going to see as many refugees, but the need for asylum continues to grow. When I first started in 2012, I had one asylum intake, and I just thought, like, I was like over the moon. I was like, this is so exciting, let's do this. Now honestly, I see probably 15 to 20 a week of people who need asylum. And I don't think that that's related in any way to our change in laws or anything. I really think it's global instability. That's my fundamental belief, is that there's just so much global instability that has related or created a place for people to seek refuge. You'll hear tonight that from one of my clients, David, and we were able to help him with his asylum claim. And I think the other thing that's changed for us and why we get so many more intakes is that our reputation has really grown. So I think David will speak a little bit to that, and so I'm excited for you guys to be able to hear that story. I think it's right after this. So obviously we do a lot of asylum. That can be very costly on the private market. Just so you know, our asylum for us costs about $1,000. Private market, you're looking anywhere between $15,000 and $25,000 for a person to be able to apply for an asylum with an attorney. And we know, just based on statistics, that a person is about 4 times more likely to be successful with an attorney than without. So it really is the matter of life and death in some ways. Asylum is where my heart is. It's a thing I really enjoy talking about, but I'm also going to tell you a little bit about some of the other things we do. So we also help Dreamers. So DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, And Dreamers are people who were brought here when they were young, maybe have known no other life, like my client Juan, who told me he remembers being in a car, and he remembers waking up, and then he remembers being in the United States, and he didn't know until he went to apply for college that he wasn't a citizen of the United States. And so those are the kinds of kids that we're able to help with this. According to the American Immigration Council, there are 8,870 DACA recipients in Indiana as of March of this year, and the clinics helped nearly 1,000 of those people. So I'm very proud of the work my team has done to help those people. We also do a lot of family reunification, and one of my favorite stories is I got to meet a client at the airport while he was waiting for his wife and son. He had never met his son. His son was 4, and he had left and his wife was pregnant. So they were separated at least 4.5 years before we were able to file the appropriate paperwork for her to join him here in the United States. And watching them reunite at first, and the son kind of being like a little weary of the dad, it was really beautiful. And for me, it was personal. My father is the son of a World War II veteran, and my father didn't meet his dad until he was quite a bit older. I don't think he was quite as old as 4, but somewhere in the 2 to 3 range. And so I thought, oh my gosh, what if this had been, my dad and my grandpa being able to reunite? So it's not so far or disconnected from our own personal lives when we witness the lives of immigrants and refugees and the things that they experience. So again, we do the family reunification. Let me go back to asylum just for a minute. As it continues to be a growing need, currently our team represents about 125 individuals and families before the immigration court in Chicago. So we must travel to Chicago to do these hearings for individuals, but one of the challenges that we faced during this pandemic is that there have been no court dates. So I haven't had a court date since March because the courts have been closed, or there aren't enough judges, or the judges are taking time because of social distancing. And it's been challenging. In some ways it benefits clients, but in most ways it delays potential justice. We don't take cases that we think we're going to lose, obviously. So when we aren't able to do that case on a timely basis, it either gets pushed out, and right now our cases are getting pushed to 2024. So it's likely that these people will have 4 more years of delayed justice before they're able to, really kind of figure out what their next steps are in life. We also do citizenship, and recently we partnered with volunteers in the Immigrant Welcome Center, and we helped 23 individuals apply for citizenship. So we did this in September, thinking that October 2nd, the fees were going to go up for immigration. Now, there was a federal injunction that stopped those fees from going up, which was good for our clients. But we did help them we helped 23 people hopefully become on their way to citizens. So that's really just, that's the kind of work we do can be very emotionally taxing. So helping somebody meet the end of the road and do the asylum or do the citizenship is really exciting. And we've had the privilege as a clinic to watch several of our clients and our colleagues become US citizens, and it has been such a joy and pleasure in my life. So let me kind of wind down here by talking about how you can help, right? So obviously this is a fundraiser, so I am going to make a little ask, but don't feel pressured. There's other ways you can help too. So volunteer with your time. You can volunteer to help immigrants become citizens and practice their civics questions. So if they sit in a room with other people who speak their language and they practice with that certain accent, we have seen it come back to hurt them. So when they go to ask the questions in the official interview with somebody who speaks like I do, a Midwesterner or a Southerner, they can't understand the person because they've only practiced questions with the Congolese accent. So if you have time, if you have Zoom capabilities and you want to help our clients practice for their interviews so that they can get used to hearing the questions in another accent, that would be great. You can help us do research or draft documents for some of our asylum cases. That would be a huge help. You can obviously use your treasure. You can give us some money. I'm not going to turn it down if you want to give it to us, but as I mentioned before, in a private market asylum case may cost $15,000 to $25,000, and our cost is $1,000. An application for citizenship costs us around $300 to $400, but on the private market is around $3,000. So know that, and we don't charge the clients, right? So these are incurred costs that we have. Lastly, I can say that you can pray for us and our clients. This, I don't think I'm gonna understate this at all. This has been a tumultuous time. It is a pandemic, it is an election year, it is lots of policy change, because for good or for bad, there's a lot of power vested with the administration, the executive branch, to change immigration policy. I heard a statistic recently that there's been about 900 legal changes or changes to immigration law in the last 4 years, which means that it's about a change every other day. And just this last week, we've had about 3 or 4 changes that we've had to do. So while that's hard on us, imagine being in a vulnerable spot like an immigrant and not being able to kind of, what's the truth, what's going on? Well, my lawyer said yesterday, now my lawyer is saying this, and then I heard on the radio this. So I ask for your prayers for clarity for us and for our clients. I ask for your prayers that we are able to continue to serve people, and that we find a way to move forward through this difficult time. Lastly, if you take nothing else, again, remember that the way you speak about immigrants and refugees can really affect change. So before you leave, let me give my little closing spiel, and then you can hit leave breakout room and you'll be sent back. So if you would like to engage in further conversations with us, please join us for a new series that we're launching this month called the Power Disparity Series. It's a virtual book club where we're going to talk about various legal settings. So first month, October, that's me. Just a few weeks from now, we're going to talk about the book called The House on Mango Street on October 27th. And you can get the tickets at nclegalclinic.org. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Bye-bye.